Championship seems to be on track.
We're still building. Every game we seem to improve and get better.
Today, they face their toughest test, the unbeaten home team, Czech Republic, led by Jaromir Jagr and Nashville goaltender Thomas Vokoun. The Czechs will be more motivated by memories of last year's semifinal game. After Milan Hajduk tied the game at 3 early in the third, Canada responded quickly.
In front to Calder, he's in there, scores! Kyle Calder!
Team Canada dominated the rest of the game and won 8-4, led by Danny Heatley, who had the hat trick. It's payback time.
We'll see what our team's made of.
Canada, Czech Republic, next. Team Canada has been getting a lot of support in Prague as defending world champions. Not today, however. You know who the majority of the fans in Saska Arena will be cheering for? They're taking on the Czech Republic. And hi, everybody. Welcome to our coverage of the World Championship. I'm Rod Black along with Dave Reed. We can tell you that this is an undefeated matchup. Two teams, unblemished records. Canada did have a tie against Austria early in the tournament. But now the two undefeateds atop the standings in their pool in the crossover. Final game of the qualification round. And they meet head on. They are the class of their group. And after this, you move on to the playoffs, if you will, the quarterfinals. And here's how Canada is thinking about the Czechs today.
It's going to be a big test for Team Canada, I think. I think they're probably considered the favorite to win this tournament. You know, we played them right before the tournament. We had about half our team, so it was tough. We didn't play really well defensively.
They're a very, very offensive team, a lot of weapons, very dangerous. So we just got to play solid on our own end, be simple, you know, get it in there, and we want to play in there and as much as we can. I think we're a good offensive team, and that's what we want to play.
It would not be a disaster to either team to win or lose or tie today because you move to the quarterfinals nonetheless. But now you decide who you will play in the quarterfinals. Should Canada win, they would meet the United States and Finland, knocking off Russia today, Dave, 4-0. The Russians don't even make it to the quarterfinals. That is a story. If Canada loses or ties today, they would meet Finland or Sweden in the next round.
And I don't think Canada is really concerned about who they're going to play here, but all three of these teams, Finland, Sweden, and the U.S. are good, strong teams. They may want to play the U.S. maybe a little weaker than Finland or Sweden, but you got to remember the Canada-U.S. rivalry, so I think that will come into play if they end up winning their group and do play Team USA. But Canada's got to worry about the Czechs in today's game. But if they do win it, I think that they would rather see the Team USA rather than Sweden or Finland.
Yeah. After today, you lose and you're knocked out. Here are our starting goalies today. No surprise for either side. The two best puck stoppers in the tournament so far, brought to you by Chevrolet for all life's roads.
Well, Roberto Luongo's back in nets for Team Canada. J.S. Giguère came in, gave Luongo the day off yesterday. He is the second best goaltender in the tournament who have played the majority of their games for their teams. And the best goaltender right here, Thomas Vokoun, who's played every game for the Czech Republic. 0.5 goals against, 970 save percentage. Two class, young, top-notch NHL goaltenders facing off against each other.
Well, it's going to be bedlam. The real stuff hasn't begun yet. The quarterfinals still ahead, but the final game of the qualification, the Czech vans filing in. Puck drop in a moment.
The 2004 IIHF World Hockey Championships on TSN are brought to you by Molson Canadian. It's a Canadian game. By Chevrolet. Chevrolet, proud to support Canadian hockey through sponsorship of the World Hockey Championships. By Mitchum M3, so effective you could skip a day. And by Gatorade. Is it in you?
And there is Lance Big Tex Armstrong.
Quick barehanded grab, no bobble at all, and just connects with Millard to get win at first base. Andre Agassi down.
She'll be going for a Yurchenko half-on, piped front.
Good look at Urlacher sitting next to Michael Vick. Not a bad 1-2 punch.
Randy Johnson builds toward the most major moment.
It's so powerful. Beautiful landing.
Armstrong attacking. Meet Mr. Urlacher.
Last time it happened? Pete Weber, Fountain Bowl.
World, say hello to bowling.
On fire. The pitch on the way. Andre slices one left field for his third.
Quick hands, left, right, thanks for coming. Vic walks in, Vic shoots and scores.
Slamming it down, big spots, Rita.
Breakaway speed.
What a great move for the big unit.
And the Fenway
Lance Armstrong, can you believe it? This guy can do anything.
There's always one who breaks away. Then it's me against him. He wants to burn me. And there's only one way to fight fire.
It's here, it's clear. Thirst-quenching Gatorade Ice.
The 2004 IIHF World Hockey Championships on TSN are brought to you by Esso. At Esso, we're drivers too. By RBC Local Hockey Leaders, recognizing dedicated volunteers who support hockey and their communities. And by Bauer Nike Hockey, accelerating the world's fastest athletes.
And here is the Canadian 20, and again, a few subtle line changes the last couple of games, and they have provided results. Danny Heatley coming off a pair of goals, and he had a hat trick last year against the Czechs. Scott Niedermayer has been awesome.
And watch for Niedermayer to be all over Jágr today, because Jágr is having a tremendous tournament, leading all players in scoring, and that's why the Czechs are where they are, because of the way Jaromír Jágr is playing. And Team Canada's power play, has been hot. They scored 3 goals last game. That bumped them up to 8th in the tournament at 18.75. But the key for the Canadian power play is to continue to put bodies in front of the net and shoot the puck.
Their penalty kill, however, has been tremendous. Here's the Czech lineup. This is like an NHL All-Star game today. A lot of familiar faces, and again, it is their toughest opposition to date at the Worlds.
While Team Canada does not want to play in their own zone, you can see lots of offensive capabilities up front on this team. They've got to put the puck deep in the Czech zone, keep the puck down there, force the defense, who would rather play an offensive style game, to make the turnovers, and that's where Team Canada will succeed.
And of course, you always have to watch number 68.
Well, he's obviously one of the best players in the NHL, obviously one of the best in the world. And you got to remember, he is playing in Prague. He is playing in his home country, so you're going to see more plays like that digging. You don't see it as much in the National Hockey League, but you'll see it today.
He has his own sports bar there, too, Jaromír Jágr. Here is what Canada has done in the penalty kill. Perfect so far. The Czechs operating at 30%.
Well, this is a true test for Team Canada's penalty killing. They are perfect, but they are playing the best at 32.3% on Czech power play. So for Team Canada, discipline is going to be a key in this game. The emotions are going to be unbelievable because of the way the crowd is going to be hollering for the home team. Canada's got to make sure they stay out of the penalty box. You don't want to put the best power play in the tournament on the ice. Even if your penalty killing is top-notch, you got to remember, when you are perfect, you're due for a lapse. So you could say that, I guess, about the power play. But Team Canada doesn't want any part of the Czech power play.
Tough opposition, tough crowd today. Let's go to Prague. Our commentators, Dave Randorf and Gary Green. Gentlemen.
Thanks a lot, Rod. Hi again, everybody. And it gets interesting tonight here in Prague against a quality opponent in the Czech Republic. Now, let's be honest, win or lose really doesn't matter, doesn't affect the long-term goal of winning gold. However, what Canada wants to do tonight is play their game and play it well regardless.
Well, they played a very solid game against Germany, and Mike Babcock, the coach of Team Canada, wants them to do exactly the same thing, especially in a couple of areas. They played really well between the neutral, in the neutral zone, I should say, because they didn't stick handle a great deal. They put that puck in deep, and when they did put it in deep, they kept it away from the goaltender. In the Germany game, that was against Kolzig. In this game, Vokun handles the puck even a little bit better. He also wants them to make sure that they take the body and take it well on the Czech Republic defenseman. And as he pointed out, put their noses right up against the plexiglass, and they can hardly make one of those long 100-foot passes if you're doing that to them. The other adjustment that he's going to make, he's going to switch the wingers right here on Horkov's line, meaning that Ryan Smith is going to go over to the right side and Rob Niedermayer will play the left. Playing the left for one reason. He's going to match up lines today. He wants Rob Niedermayer out there against Jaromír Jágr. So this will be the first time that he's really been concerned about line matchups.
And this is going to be the first time Canada faces the wild, noisy, hostile home crowd here in Prague. They're going to be decked out in all the colors with their noisemakers and their helmets, one of which I happen to have right here, Greener. I got one for you, too.
You get a 2-minute penalty. You don't have your chin strap done up.
Oh, well, I love these things. Rod?
Yeah. I don't know what size that is, but it looks good. There are the Czechs. Team Canada coming to the ice. Roberto Luongo leading the way. Puck drop next. Some fans from Calgary and Prague. They better have loud voices. They are going to be seriously outnumbered. Let's go to CZECH Arena. Here's Dave and Gary.
Thanks, Rod. Hello again, everyone. Hockey fans from coast to coast, welcome to Prague, where this place is jam-packed already, and everybody's all fired up for this much-anticipated game between Canada and the Czech Republic. Here's Martin Havlat in over the line for the Czechs. Jaromír Jágr's out there with him, along with Martin Straka. Jágr, the leading scorer in the tournament so far, with 8 points.
This building has been absolutely deafening for the last half hour. So you know that the Czech fans are all ready to see their team score first. The key for Canada right now is to make sure that they just control the Czechs right off the bat. Kind of for the first 10 minutes, kind of try to take the crowd out of this game as much as possible. We talked to you about the matchups that we're seeing right now. Rob Niedermayer up against Jágr.
Ryan Smith on the opposite wing now with Sean Horkoff in the middle. Stales and Brewer are out there as well. That's the other defensive matchup he'd like to see. There's Jágr having it poked away at the blue line. Jaromír Jágr has played very well over here. He's motivated. He is not. He missed out on that 3 straight gold medal run that the Czechs had a few years ago. He was busy in the Stanley Cup playoffs at the time. This is Spacek. Jaroslav Spacek into Straka at center ice. Picking it up behind him is Prospel. Drops it off for Jágr. Vinny Prospel now, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks into the high slot. Shot on the way. Off the stick of Roman Hamrlik. It's deflected up and over the net, guarded by Roberto Luongo.
16 different National Hockey League players playing on this Czech Republic team, and one other, Yuri Depita, of course, who has played in the National Hockey League over, well, not last year, but the 2 previous years. But for Mike Babcock and his coaching staff today, matching up Rob Niedermayer against Jágr will be a problem for a couple of reasons. Jágr stays out there for long shifts, and secondly, when he's out on the ice, he's all over the place out there. That makes it very difficult to actually check Jaromír Jágr.
Another guy who's had a hot stick for the Czechs is number 26, Martin Rucinski, with 4 goals and 7 points. He's played very well. Rucinski now the Vancouver Canucks. Here comes Scott Niedermayer to center ice. A couple of goals for Scott Niedermayer yesterday against Germany in that 6-1 rout. Matt Cook in behind the Czech goal. Cocoon waiting for someone to come out. There is Brendan Morrison in helping out. Now Murray tries to center the puck. It goes back to the net, far side where František Kaberle is after it. He chips it past David Vaborny. Prospel now trying to get by Niedermayer. Niedermayer held him up and allowed Jay Bouwmeester to scoop it up. Banks it off the boards now. Jan Hayda's given a bump. Daniel Briere follows up on the play. Penalty call coming up here along the near side. First call of the game.
Looks like it's going to Matt Cook. What Mike Babcock said about both Cook and Morrow is he doesn't mind them taking penalties, but they have better been really good penalties. He wants them to keep their elbows down, the high sticks down, and just use the shoulders, though, in which case, in international hockey, you're apt to get boarding penalties. He can live with those boarding penalties, and he said, our penalty killers will kill them off. But this one wasn't a boarding penalty, it was an elbow.
The Czech power play has been awesome. It's ranked number 1 in the tournament, 32%. They have 10 power play goals in 5 games. Been a big part of their 5-0 record, and they're going to go to work right here. Number 73 is Peter Pruka. He's up front with Jágr and Havlat, who's playing his 2nd game of the championship after coming over from the Ottawa Senators. And also he came here and he had the flu, kept him out of some early games. Now Jágr in over the line, tries to make a move around Steos. Gets the puck back and down low, looking for Pruka. There's Eric Brewer flipping it down the ice. Out of his net to handle it is Thomas Vokoun. 34 wins on the season for Vokoun. Puck is centered in front, rolls to the far corner. Morrow into his teammate. They get it to the line, but not out. Now here's Havlat. Lets it go by. Niedermayer with it now, hard off the boards and down the ice. 1 minute gone in this opening power play here for the Czech Republic. As Martin Straka now, the Czech captain, starts it up the ice, getting it to Vaborny. Vaborny with a dump in around the boards. Rolls out into the open ice. There's a quick snapshot off the stick of Prospel, and Luongo saw that.
One thing the Team Canada coaching staff knew is that Roberto Luongo in the net today would give them an opportunity to win this hockey game. They were extremely confident as to how he would play. Roberto Luongo's accustomed to facing lots of shots, and he's accustomed to facing these shooters that are out on the ice today.
Daniel Briere with a good face-off win in the Canadian zone, but the clearing attempt off the stick of Morris was a little high and into the netting.
The Czech team, as you would expect, are the home team today. But we'll talk to you a little bit later about an interesting situation that could develop as this tournament goes on if the Czechs and Canadians were to play each other again.
And pass looking for Frantisek Kaberle. It comes out of the zone.
Well, I've got time to explain it now. If, in fact, the Czechs and the Canadians were to meet in a gold medal game, and if the Czechs were to win today, Canadians would end up being the home team. Figure that one out. Well, it's because of the IHF rules, and if you are the home team against Canada this time, you cannot be the next time you face each other the home team again. There are some strange rules.
Canada, the #1 penalty-killing team so far here in the championship, is showing why they are just that. There's only about 3 seconds to go in the power play, and the Czechs have barely had an opportunity. Now it's over, teams back at even strength. Ruka misses the puck, it's chipped out. Out of play, face-off coming up outside the Canadian line. 4 minutes gone, no score between Canada and the Czechs.
Recognizes dedicated volunteers that support hockey in their community. This season, RBC's donated over $100,000 on behalf of 14 regional winners like Art Como of St. John, New Brunswick. For more information, visit rbchockeyleaders.com.
Canada coming into this game with a 14-game unbeaten streak at the World Championship. They have not lost since May of 2002 against Slovakia in a playoff round game. They've been on a roll ever since. Thomas Vokoun saw that one all the way. He got a lot of work this year in Nashville and played very well for Barry Trotz and the Predators.
And Mike Babcock was talking about the fact that Vokoun also handles the puck even better than Olaf Kolzig does, who, of course, Canada faced the other day against Germany. And they kept it away from Kolzig for the most part. They want to make sure that they keep that puck away on dump-ins, away from Vokoun today.
Here's Danny Heatley, 5 goals in the tournament, tied for first, along with Olli Jokinen from Finland. In behind his own net now is Jiri Dopita, the Czech national team veteran, playing his 8th World Championship. He started the rush. Now they're at the blue line. Dopita's right in there, scores! The Czech Republic has struck first on a goal by Dopita, 1-0.
It looked rather innocent at the time, but you could see the way that Dopita just stopped that puck with his hand, put it right down when he received that pass. And then, as Roberto Luongo went down, Dopita found the room. And while that was happening, Puka ended up going down on the ice as though he was hurt. And I thought that Canada were getting a penalty. And Briere is in the penalty box right now, in fact.
So a roughing call against Briere and a goal against Luongo off the stick of Dopita. Not a great turn of events here for Team Canada. Now they'll have to kill one off after giving up the opening goal. Jiri Dopita is a guy who's played an awful lot over here. He's a living hockey legend right now. He didn't try the NHL until he was 32 years of age. Played for the Flyers and the Oilers. Didn't quite like life in North America on or off the ice. So he's back here for a last fling, and he's got a big goal in this game.
For all the
open
years,
the scoring.
And all the years I watched Dopita play, I thought for certain he'd be a good National Hockey League. I mean, the guy's 6'4", 220 pounds.
Yeah, a lot of people loaded up on him when in their hockey pools when he came over, and it just didn't work out, and he's happier over here. Now here come the Czechs on the power play. That's Jan Novak keeping it in for Jágr along the far boards. Jágr working against Sean Horkov. Nice little pass in there to Rachinski with some move. Drops it off for Jaromir Jágr. Down low to Havlat. Rachinski's in front. They try to find Jágr, and it rolls past him and out of the zone. 1 minute gone in the power play. Here's Jágr again. 4 goals and 4 assists. In behind the net. Brewer gives him a bump. Gets it far side now. In front is Havlat. Here's Jágr. Straka's out there as well. That's Rachinski on the far side. Martin Rachinski down low to Jágr. To Rachinski. Canada's keeping him wide here. Straka fakes the shot. Quick pass. And the quick shot never got through.
Havlat was just standing in front of Roberto Luongo, and he never moved. He was just standing right there, and he's a pretty big man as well.
Here's Niedermeyer at center ice. Gets it back to Bouwmeester. And he sends it down the ice with just 20 seconds to go in this power play. The second power play of the game for the Czechs. Just 6 and change into it. Here's Vaborny, second leading scorer on the Blue Jackets, right behind Rick Nash. Kaberle into Václav Prospal. Drops it off to Radek Dvorak of the Edmonton Oilers. He fires a shot. It's up in the air, and Luongo, using that big reach, reaches up, grabs it, and holds it.
That was a weird rebound. When that puck was shot, Roberto Luongo could see it, but then the rebound went straight up into the air. Was it deflected? Previously, Roberto Luongo had to do the stretch in order to cover as much of the net as possible. Then there's the shot. Oh, exactly. It was deflected by Roberto Luongo with his stick.
Here's Hammerlick, almost had his pocket picked by Ryan Smith. Now following up on the play, look at Jay Bouwmeester. He skated so well now for 2 years in this tournament. Didn't get very far there. Penalty is over. Team's back at even strength. It remains 1-0. Bouwmeester back in position now. Being watched. Here's a chance. They score! Joseph Baranek got the turnover. Bing! Bang! 2-0.
Well, throughout this tournament, Canada really haven't been accustomed to much pressure in their own end. Jay Bouwmeester ended up giving up the puck, and it was a bad giveaway because Baranek was parked right in front of the net in the best scoring position, out in the slot, and when he received that pass, he wasted no time whatsoever. That was a great shot. There wasn't much room there past Roberto Luongo, but Baranek found it.
Yeah, if you're wondering where Baranek is, the former NHL veteran of 9 seasons, has played the last 3 seasons right here in Prague. And how's that for his touch? Doesn't appear to be too rusty. Picked the top corner there as Radek Dvorak made Bouwmeester pay, and the Czechs are right back on the attack here. The explosive attack of the Czech Republic. All over Canada right now. Here's Danny Heatley. Trying to work his way in. Morrow following up on the play in against Jan Novak. Morrow, a little aggressive there in the corner. He's got to be careful. It's a fine line. Babcock wants him to play with an edge, which he's been doing. They can't afford to take any more penalties. They've already taken 2 here. They've killed them both off. Both goals have been scored at even strength. Nearing the 8-minute mark here of the first. Now dancing in is Cook with Murray in front. Matt Cook takes the shot, and it was deflected in front. Good surge there by the Vancouver Canuck forward. Here's Eric Brewer now. To Cook. Tries to get it up towards the center ice area for Murray. It goes down the ice. Icing is the call. We'll be back to Prague right after this.
Don't forget, NHL hockey playoffs live here on TSN, 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night, 5 Pacific. San Jose Sharks against the Colorado Avalanche, still alive, still breathing in the postseason. Let's go back to Prague with Canada down 2-0.
Well, you mentioned about Canada having to stay out of the penalty box. No question about that. Nobody has scored more goals in this whole tournament than have the Czech Republic. Now, that's even strength or power play, and they have been the #1 power play in this tournament. And Canada also knows that because they faced them in the exhibition game.
That shot goes in towards the goal. You can barely hear the whistle, if at all, here in Saska Arena. I thought Ryan Smith was offside there, but they allowed the play to continue, and Vokoun has to cover up.
Well, once Horcoff put that puck to the net, you know that Canada is going to try to create some traffic, but Vokoun let such a small rebound out there. He was able to just glove it himself, but he had a little bit of traffic then, ending up right on top of him.
Good face-off win, feathered in front. Williams can't get his stick loose. Puck was lying there and cleared by the Czechs. Decent execution by Canada off the offensive face-off, and they almost clicked. Now Patrice Bergeron, first man into the corner. Williams in there helping out against Yuri Slager. Williams can't find the handle on it, and now here's Berenik, the most recent goal scorer, dropping it off for Slager. He goes far side, was looking for Radek Dvorak, who just dumps it in. You'll see the Czechs, they really spread it out. They'll go side to side with those passes.
They're used to this big ice surface, and they utilize it, making it difficult for Canada to check them.
Here comes Bergeron barging in. His shot attempt was weak and wide. Smith puts one in towards the goal with a man right on the doorstep, and that is going to be a call against Niedermayer. Doing some pushing and shoving in front, or is it against the Czechs?
I think it's against the Czechs because Niedermayer was standing in front of the net, but he ended up getting dumped. I mean, he did his own little bit of pushing, but
it is.
It's the Czech player who was guilty of hooking Niedermayer.
Thought the call may have been for Niedermayer giving his man a shove there, but now the Canadians will get a power play here. They're first of the game. It'll be Morrow, Briere, and Heatley up front with Brewer and Bouwmeester on the points. Morrow comes in to take this draw after Briere is waved out. He wins it, and it goes right up the middle between Bouwmeester and Brewer. Right away, they've got to retreat. Canada has killed off 2 Czech power plays. Now this is their first opportunity with the man advantage. Little flip ahead looking for Heatley, who had a couple of goals yesterday against Germany. Here's Heatley far side in behind the net for Briere. Heatley goes to the front of the net. Briere back to the line for Bouwmeester. Bouwmeester down low for Briere. Morrow's parked right out in front. Briere having trouble getting away from Nowak. Heatley joins the battle. It comes loose, and Spacek rings it around the boards and out. Midway mark of the first period. Ryan Smith looking for the loose puck. The Czechs send it down the ice again. Head coach Mike Babcock does not want to see his team stick handling at the opposition's blue line. Dump it in, he says. And be the first man to it. Now here's Yaroslav Olinka with a long shot. While short-handed, Luongo steered it into the corner. 45 seconds to go, the man advantage. Morris to center ice. He flips it ahead right to the Czech defenseman Slager. That is kept in. Thought it may have squeaked out, but it's allowed to continue. Ryan Smith can't pin it along the near boards, and down the ice it goes again.
Canada have not done a very good job in this power play of being able to enter the Czech zone. They have been getting stopped at the blue line.
Here comes Niedermayer entering the zone. Lost possession, but Morris is there to pick it up. His pass attempt is turned over to Verborny. David Verborny can't pull away from Niedermayer, but he drops it off for Kaberle. Right in front was Raczynski, and he couldn't get the tip. As the Czechs come close again, this time short-handed. Penalty is over. Teams back at even strength. First power play for Canada goes out the window. Now here's Dumont reaching for a pass. Steve Staios helps him out. But it was offside at the line with 11:22 gone in the first. Good look there at Mike Babcock. Trying to get his team to regain their balance here and get the next one.
Yeah, not really the game plan right now. Down 2-0 halfway through this first period of play. The crowd had been absolutely wild, and this Czech team had been skating and moving that puck and shooting it when they've been given the opportunity to. Canada have got to kind of refocus here and get right back to their game.
Nick Schultz dumps it in there. Williams plays the body. Well, the Czechs come out. Here's Berenik with numbers. That's Jan Hlavich, who's given a hard rub by Jeff Friesen. He drops it off for Dvorak. Schultz pokes it away from him and then goes after it. He'll leave it for Morris. Up to Bergeron and out. Here's Dvorak, who was second on the Oilers in scoring, right behind Ryan Smith. Schultz now at his first World Championship. They love the way he's playing over here, coached by Jacques Lemaire in Minnesota. They say it shows. Now here come the Czechs. Over the blue line, dancing with it is Dvorak on his back end, gets it to Hlavich. Here's Hlavich circling around. Look at him, allowed to skate all over the place there. There's a backhander, a big rebound, and it's cleared by Brewer. Hlavich went for a skate there in the Canadian zone. Havlat can't control it. It's poked out of the zone, and Ryan Smith scoops it up. Smith still looking for his first goal here in Prague. Far corner. Niedermayer's there. Now Ryan Smith with some room. Tries to bring it out in front. He couldn't get the shot away. Horkoff picks up where he left off. Horkoff in behind the goal. Rolls off his stick. He moves out in front. And play is whistled down. Impossible to hear the whistles here. And it's another penalty call, is it, Green?
I'm not sure if it was a penalty call or whether a Canadian player was in the crease and the faceoff coming outside.
That's what it was.
Ryan Smith was in there, as you can see, and then Bokun just gave him a punch right in the head. I don't think Ryan Smith was expecting that one.
The Swedish official allowing that one to stand, as Bokun did not like the big Canadian captain standing in his office. And again, the rule is if a player is too close, they'll blow it down and the faceoff comes outside the blue line, as you just saw. Here's Jágr back to the line for Spacek. Wires a shot through a crowd. I don't know whether Luongo stopped that or not, but he had a beat on it. Steos now lines up, fires it in there. Around the boards it goes. Meeting it on the far side is Rob Niedermayer. Back to the near side. Into the corner for Smith. Here's Horkoff. Tried to center it, but Novak took it away from him. Jágr can't get it out. Now back into Smith. Out front for Horkoff, and he couldn't get the backhander away. That is stick tied up in the last second by Novak. Here's Scott Niedermayer to Ryan Smith. Some good push now going the other way for Team Canada. Into the slot, Rob Niedermayer shoots, and it's blocked by Spacek. Horkoff, he hit the side of the net. He had an open side, and he couldn't put it home. Great opportunity for Sean Horkoff. Now it's chipped out, and Bouwmeester's back to get it.
Best opportunity that Canada has had in this game, and now Canada, though, are going to pick up a penalty. Novak is laying on the ice, as you can see. And Ryan Smith is going to be the guy that ends up getting the penalty. That's way behind the play. Ryan Smith did not have to end up doing that to Novak, because now the Czechs will get another opportunity on the power play. Something that Canada wanted to stay away from. Mike Babcock's having some words right now with the referee for an explanation, perhaps. But we had the benefit of the replay and seeing Ryan Smith guilty.
The third Canadian penalty of this first period. We're 14 minutes into it. They've dodged the bullet so far against the #1 power play unit here at the championship, showing why they're the top penalty killing team here so far in Prague. Rucinski can't get it deep, and Niedermayer sends it down. Bokun gets it right out to Roman Hamrlik. Here's Hamrlik now. Looking for an outlet to pass it. Instead, he'll just fire it in. Goes round the boards. Morrow can't control it. It's back on the point for Prospal. Václav Prospal drops it off for Kaberle. Over on the far side now, the Czechs with it. As Rucinski into Prospal. Back to the point for Hamrlik. Kaberle gets back into position. This is Roman Hamrlik into the far corner now. Long pass out to the point for Kaberle. Of the Atlanta Thrashers right in front for Boldy. Hits Luongo. It's swatted away. And whistled down right there. In front of the Canadian goal with the Czechs buzzing here on the power play. 1 minute gone.
Canada did a pretty good job, though, of collapsing. But unfortunately, right there, Brendan Morrow ended up committing himself way too soon. And as a result, kind of put Canada at a disadvantage. You see Bouwmeester ending up batting that puck away after that puck went up in the air. Once again, that's happened to a couple of times on Roberto Luongo on rebounds in this game.
And you can see right away he was pointing at his mask. It hits him in the face, and that is an immediate face-off over here at the World Championship. This one coming to the left of Roberto Luongo, who has never lost at the Worlds. Comes into today with a record of 8-0-1 at the World Championships. Less than 5 minutes to go now. The Czechs with a 2-0 lead on goals by Topita and Joseph Baranek. Baranek now with it in the far corner, gets it in behind the goal. Comes to the point now for Spacek. He goes cross ice for Novak, fires a shot that's wide of the mark. Spacek keeps it in. This is Dvorak. Turns it back towards the point for Spacek. Back to Dvorak now, as the Canadians have them spread right out on the perimeters. Alavic can't get it in front. Baranek can't either. There's Justin Williams, turns it over momentarily there for Alavic. Now he's in behind the goal. In close quarters, Alavic still with it. It's bouncing around all over the place in there. Just 8 seconds to go in this power play. And now Eric Brewer will dump it down the ice and kill the remaining few seconds.
Good patience on Eric Brewer's part. I'm sure that he wanted to kind of jump into that fray and grab possession of the puck himself, but he held his position.
There's Heatley picking one off. But he dropped it off to Briere, who lost it. Now here's Slager jumping up on the play. Far side, in front. Nobody was there except for Derek Morris. Topita gets it in for Pruka. One-timer from Slager. Luongo got a piece and kicked it aside. Yuri Slager again. He's got a hard shot. That one didn't reach the mark. Slager kept it in. Here's Pruka dancing in, but he didn't get all the way to the goal and couldn't get a shot away. Now Heatley rolls off a check from Jan Heda. He'll charge in there. Puck goes in behind the Czech goal. Along the near boards, they get it back for Morris. His shot is deflected high. Pruka takes it off the glass, and Peter Pruka will get it out. Pruka, property of the New York Rangers, was a very late draft pick in the 2002 draft, 240th overall.
Last 3 minutes of this first period, and Canada need to finish this period off by gaining the momentum. They need to put some pressure on this Czech defense.
Ryan Smith chasing the loose puck there in the neutral zone. Rolls off his stick. Smith just out of the box now, tries to get it ahead to Rob Niedermeyer. Borkoff along the far side, can't reach it, and here comes Jágr with Straka on the move. Comes near side for Havlat. Martin Havlat feathers one in front, and the poke check move almost came back to haunt Luongo, but no damage done.
In Ostrava, undefeated Slovakia and Sweden on the ice. Scoreless first period. Sweden might be an opponent for Canada in their next game in the quarterfinal. We'll see how it plays out. Back to Prague.
Sweden can finish first with a win tonight, or all the way down to third with a loss. It's that tight over in that very tough group in Ostrava, in which Russia is done. As far as quarterfinals are concerned, they are finished. Coached by Viktor Tikhonov. Didn't work out well in his return. Here's Scott Niedermeyer carrying it in over the line, but one of his teammates, I believe Cook, was a step too early. Offside.
Well, one of the things that I'm sure Mike Babcock will address with his team at the end of this first period is, first of all, their forecheck today. They have been guilty again of handling that puck way too much at the blue line, and as a result, the Czechs will just turn it over, and their transition game's very quick. Secondly is that when the Czechs are on the offensive rush, Canada have not been guilty of being outnumbered, but they have been guilty of giving up that blue line and allowing the Czechs to enter the zone when there was no need for it.
Hammerlich blew a tire there. Murray was right there, but he couldn't pounce on the loose puck. Now it comes out. Niedermeyer back in position before Havlat could pull away. Here comes Brendan Morrison trying to split the D. A weak backhander goes wide. Vokun sends it around the glass. There's been another call here, and this one is going to go against Team Canada. No, it isn't.
No, I think
you know, some of the
faceoff just coming outside of the blue because of the way First of all, the Vokoun, who just fired that puck up high, it did stay in. Did it not? Because if that puck ended up going out, then Vokoun should have a penalty. And right now, I'm not sure what the referee is suggesting, but Vokoun should have been penalized there.
Well, we saw Archer Zerbe take a similar penalty, and that is going to be the call, delay of game. So there was a call on the play. It was just unclear as to who it was, who he was pointing at. I knew he was pointing at somebody. Oftentimes, confusion reigns out on the ice here. I think everybody's getting the word on both benches.
But what they're asking for, but it shouldn't come out, though. And Vokoun was the one that shot the puck over the glass, and the faceoff should be down deep.
And now it is coming in. We'll get it all sorted out. We're just following along with you at home as well. All right, so they signaled a penalty. You saw it up on your screen, but there is no penalty call now, but the faceoff is in the check-in, so no power play.
And yet they had the penalty up there.
Yeah.
Now that might be the first time that a coach has been ever able to change a referee's mind. Slava Leonard was having some discussions, and they've taken the penalty away from Thomas Vokoun. Amazing.
So it remains 5-on-5. Straka to Yager, trying to work against Brewer, who falls down. Yager's right in, and it rolls off his stick. Jaromir Jagr, who has not put up the points the last few seasons like he has in the past. But he's been dangerous over here, that's for sure. Morrow in over the line, tries to snap a shot. Didn't get far. Straka. Far side for Verborny. Verborny moves into the middle, gets it to Straka. Straka takes a weak shot. Luongo lying there. Verborny with the rebound. Luongo's got that. They're still banging away at it, and it comes loose. Now there's a penalty call coming up here. And this one is going to go against the Czech Republic. It's going to be Martin Havlat.
Well, Havlat is taking this penalty, and you can see that he was battling away in front. And Havlat ends up then with the penalty, but I'm not quite sure as to whether or not that tripping penalty on his part was really justified, to be honest. I think the Canadian defenseman just kind of fell.
An eventful game from an officiating standpoint so far here. The first, last minute of this first, Niedermeyer takes a whack of the puck. Morrison chases after it. Smith's in there as well. And Murray. 3 Canadians in below the goal line. Morris steps up and joins the party. Now Morris. Can't get a hold of it. Morrison falls down in behind the play.
Let me clarify with you why that was not a penalty and why they took it back. Is because once I saw the replay, the puck ended up going out all right, but it hit the mesh behind, above the glass.
Here's Niedermeyer dancing in, got the shot away, but again, offside was
so because it hit the netting, then it wouldn't be a penalty for delay of the game on the goaltender's part. But the puck then dropped down between the glass and the netting, and as a result, the puck did go out of play, but the penalty was called back, and actually that is the right call.
Just 10 seconds to go here in the first period. Bouwmeester can't keep it in, and it's poked loose by Topita. He's got one already. They're short-handed. Peter Pruka takes a shot. More just a dump-in attempt, but time runs out, and the Czechs will head to the dressing room with a 2-goal lead. And the home crowd is loving this. Now we'll take it back to Rod Black and Dave Reed.
Thank you, gentlemen. I guess we shouldn't be surprised. This is not Austria or Switzerland or France. This is a very powerful Czech Republic team.
And this is a team that's scoring on their opportunities. They really haven't had that many opportunities in this game, but when they get them, and they've been some beautiful ones, they're finishing them. That's something that the Czech Republic's always been known for, is their ability to finish the scoring chances.
We'll break it down in a few moments. We should maybe now talk a little bit about what happens to a player once an NHL season. You never were conscripted to go play at a World Championship. You were always busy in the postseason. But a lot of players, when their season ends, they have to just deal with the disappointment of switching it off and then turning it on and then heading overseas to answer the call for Canada.
And time running down on the Edmonton Oilers season. In front, Owen scores! Matthias Owen on the power play!
It's very disappointing, very hard to take.
First and foremost, I'd like to be playing for the Stanley Cup.
Will the Montreal Canadiens knock off the Bruins again? Zednik puts the clincher on it.
Obviously, you want to be playing over there for the Stanley Cup at this time of year, but I think it's a great opportunity when you do get beat out to play with a group of guys like this for your country. And you know what? You forget about what happened back then, back in the playoffs, and you want to come over here and win the goal for Canada and yourselves, the whole team. And I think it eases the mind a little bit.
Off the boards. Here's Yell's shot. Oh, big. Another huge. They score. A rebound. And it's more than Jelena. And that's a stunned. Just sitting on the bench. They can't believe it.
Anytime you get asked to play for your country, it's a huge honor. And it's very humbling. And it doesn't take long before, your sense of pride really builds up and you want to go represent your country. And you just don't want to come over here. You want to come over and you want to win.
Glenn Murray back to Bouwmeester. One-timer down deep. Cook's there to get it. Morrison on the wraparound. Scores! Brendan Morrison.
It's something you strive to be, to win as a Stanley Cup, and you get knocked out, and then you get called to go over. By no means it's a letdown, because it's pretty exciting over there. It's good hockey. You're competing against the best players in the world.
When Canada comes calling, it's obviously it's something that I'd have a hard time ever saying no to. I had such a great experience last year. It's always been a dream of mine to represent my country. And once you get over here, you switch gears, and obviously your mindset is doing whatever it takes to win gold, and that's where we're at right now.
There's a little zip in the Canadiens now. Horkov's in there, scores! Sean Horkov.
It's one of the harder things that you do. But at the end of the day, when you think about the decision to go over there and play, you're representing your country, and you're playing, and you get to continue playing. And every player wants to play this time of year anyways.
Still no winner, but here comes Anson Carter on the line. Fires a shot. Telquist makes the save. He's got the wraparound! It's in the net! Canada has won!
I'd like to get a taste of that gold medal too, and they say there's nothing like it. I mean, if you're not going to win the Stanley Cup, a gold medal is pretty good.
It is not the Stanley Cup, but they do hand up the World Championship trophy and gold medals. A lot to do before then, though, and these Czechs are tough. 2-0. Our first intermission continues.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Vector. Fuel up.
Back in the newsroom, I'm Rod Smith. We'll get back to Rod and Dave in just a moment here on TSN. First, a look at the stories we're working on for the early edition of Sports Center at 6:30 Eastern Time. More hockey to talk about. And a big night in Calgary tonight at the Saddle Dome. The Flames looking to close out their series with the Red Wings and advance to the Western Conference Final. The Wings will be without captain Steve Yzerman, who was out indefinitely with eye and facial injuries suffered on Saturday. We'll have a preview. Toronto Maple Leafs back home, still reeling from their 7-2 thumping at the hands of the Flyers in Game 5. Now, according to Philadelphia's website, goalie Robert Ashe was suffering from flu-like symptoms and is expected to get the start in Game 6 tomorrow. Ken Klee will not play in Game 6 for the Leafs. He may need surgery for his injured knee. Carl Pilash will take his place on the Toronto Blue Line. We'll have all the details and a preview coming up on SportsCenter at 6:30 Eastern. Back to the Worlds in just a moment.
Joe Sakic has kept his Colorado Avalanche in it. They're down 3-2. Game 6 is tomorrow night on TSN. Sharks and Avalanche on high definition. Playoff hockey lives here on TSN. Canada trailing 2-0. The last deficit they faced at the World Championship this year was against Austria when they were down 2-0. Were able to rally back, but it's going to be difficult against a very tough Czech Republic team.
And they're playing in the Czech Republic's home rink in Prague. So whenever you play an offensive team, especially when you play in their building, you are a little hesitant, a little tentative, and you don't want to take chances. And that's pretty much what happened to Canada early in the game. And it cost them both goals. We're going to have a look at the first goal. You've got a good back check on the play, and it's a simple pass up the ice. As it comes to the point, this is what I'm talking about right here. The Canadian defense are backing off the blue line. If they can step up and stay with this man, there's no play. You'll find Danny Heatley. He picks up Yuri Slager going to the net, but as this play moves on, you're going to notice Scott Niedermayer playing it in the NHL rinks in the middle of the rink instead of the large ice surface. Here's Niedermayer in the middle of the rink. He should probably be out here. Remember, it's a little wider rink. Yuri DePita found his way in the far side, and Scott Niedermayer didn't even know he was there pretty much until he was right on top of the goaltender. Yes, maybe you should have that, but either way, it's a great scoring chance, and it's in. In this one, Canada just gets sloppy. Everybody on Team Canada is going the other way. Jay Bouwmeester tries to reverse it back to Scott Niedermayer, but you got to remember, there's nobody in front of the net. Niedermayer is taking off this way as a defenseman. You've got your wingers taking off up the ice. Ryan Smith, he's already cut across and he's gone. There's nobody for Team Canada in front of the net. They're thinking this is an easy breakout. Well, it's not. It's a quick pass out in front and it's in your net. So Canada got caught in the second one with just a little sloppy play behind the net, but in the first one they got caught just almost too much respect, you call it, in the National Hockey League when you back off teams. Canada's got to stay on the attack, stay into Czech's face. They don't give them the opportunity to pass the puck around. And when you do get the puck in your own net, they learn the hard way, or in your own zone, excuse me. Canada learn the hard way. You just can't expect the play to be made. You've got to get yourself in proper defensive position and then go on the offense. Canada was seeing a little too much offense on their second goal allowed, and it's cost them. And they're in a big hole. This isn't Austria they're playing. They're playing a very formidable opponent.
Yes, they are. They've been getting better every game, Team Canada has, especially coming off a great win over Germany. Not looking good in the first period. Joseph Baranek, one of the two goals. See how Canada responds in period 2. You're watching the IIHF World Hockey Championship on TSN. Different game than last year, certainly so far in the semifinals when they met. Let's go back to Prague for period 2. Canada and the home side, the Czech Republic.
Welcome back. Canada will start the second period on the power play. There's still 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining in the penalty to Martin Havlat, which he picked up near the end of the first. So Canada with Morrow, Heatley, and Briere up front, along with Niedermayer and Derek Morris along the points. Flipped in there for Briere and against Jaroslav Spacek. Spacek can't get his stick free. Morrow's in there to crash in, and Spacek is down.
Well, Morrow came flying in there all right. And as Briere was battling with Spacek, then Morrow just put the left shoulder right into Spacek and then sent him right into the boards. Now, I don't believe that Morrow should get a penalty for this because he just simply used his shoulder.
Boy, he really connected there with Spacek, who missed a considerable amount of time this season with Columbus, missed about 24 games with a groin injury. He's been a very effective player for them, but he seems to be maybe, you think, favoring his shoulder? Is he winded? It's all a guess from here, but Morrow certainly stepped into him.
Well, he got hit hard, no question about that, but Morrow also took advantage of the fact that Spacek was looking down at the puck. It wasn't as though Spacek had his back to Morrow by any means, but he was looking down in his feet for possession of that puck. Watch it again from this angle, and you'll see that Spacek ends up looking down, and he didn't see Morrow coming right at him.
And Spacek is definitely hurting, and he is going to head off to the dressing room for some medical attention. And that's a big loss for the Czechs right now. He's played a lot for them and has played well. This is his 5th World Championship. He's an experienced player. He's got gold medals from the Worlds. He's got a gold from the 1998 Olympics.
And, you know, I think when you see this, it's not the shoulder. I think that he ended up catching him right on the chin. And as a result, Spacek is being wheeled off from the stretcher. You don't want to see that to any player by any means. But at the same time, it was a good, solid hit by Morrow. Hopefully, Spacek will be all right.
Well, I guess that's what they call Canadian hockey over here. All the other reporters from around the world wondering why they're not playing Canadian hockey. Well, they just saw it right there, and they remain on the power play for 48 seconds. Morrow is still out there as well. Here's Scott Niedermayer onto his backhand, flips one towards the goal. Briere! Oh, I think he hit the post as he turned and fired one, and it stays out of the net. Kept in by Moore. Shot on the way through a crowd. Stopped by Vokun. Penalty coming up here. It's going to be a cross-checking call against Scott Niedermayer.
Well, Canada were putting the pressure on, but they got to stop missing those open nets. They've had a couple of them in this game. Talk about some cross-checking. I mean, Vokoun was as guilty as anyone out there at cross-checking, as he ended up cross-checking Morrow, but it's Niedermayer that originally went to the box, but then he ended up turning around and coming back out. It is the Czech. The Czechs that should have got the penalty for cross-checking.
Yeah, well, Niedermayer skated right over towards the box. I just thought it was going towards against him. I should stop. I should just wait until the call's made today. Nobody is headed to the box. Finally, a Czech player is headed over there. Off the bench.
And Vokoun did get the cross-checking penalty. That's what it should have been in the first place.
And it's Hammerlick who's going to serve it. So, Canada with a two-man advantage here for 31 seconds. A great opportunity to get on the board here. Morrison now with lots of time. Back to Morris, and into Murray. Scores! That didn't take long. And they'll still have 1:52 to go. And the other penalty to Vokoun.
That's what Canada needs. Canada needs a hot hand from Glenn Murray. Murray parks himself in that slot position. He's going to connect a high percentage of the time. He's got a wicked shot from that position, and he just let go with a good hard drive immediately upon getting that pass.
Glenn Murray, who was a power play specialist for the Boston Bruins this season, with 11 of his 32 goals coming with the man advantage, gets his second goal of the championship and gets Canada on the board. 1:40 still remaining in the Vokoun cross-check call, sent down the ice. They still have not put the Canadian goal up on the board. Here's Scott Niedermayer now, gets it to Brendan Morrison at center ice. Wide side there for Ryan Smith. Smith circles around the net, has it taken away from him. Novak flips it up and over the glass and out of play.
Well, Canada definitely come out in this second period of play. And I'm pausing here for a moment because I'm watching the clock continue to run as I was speaking, and yet there's clearly been a stoppage in play, and that clock should be put back to 1:26. But it kept on going. And I don't think Canada have noticed it, but that clock clearly ran for another 4 seconds. I mean, amazing. What I started to say was that Canada has really come out in this second period meaning business, playing their game. We'll see whether or not the referee ends up getting the clock put back to where it should be. Boy, this has been an amazing game. The first period and second period, it seems to be a lot of confusion out on the ice between the officiating staff and also the staff running the game clock here. I mean, putting up penalties that don't exist. I mean,
well, and out of all of this, penalty killers get a little bit of a rest as well, wouldn't you think? 1:25 is now gone in the second period, and the penalty is showing 1:04 remaining. There's still a conference going out on the ice between the officials and a couple of the players, Heatley and Rudzinski. Now he's going to go over and do some more adjustments. Glenn Murray scored on the power play moments ago with a two-man advantage to get Team Canada on the board.
I've got a feeling that this referee kind of wished that he had have slept in for this game.
So do I.
Slava Leonard, he's not quite sure what to think of it. One thing that Slava Leonard knows for sure, though, that this Canadian team has come out with a totally different approach to the game than they did to start the game off.
I'm convinced he told Niedermayer on that last call that he was the guy going to the box, because he skated almost all the way straight to the box.
Well, in all due respect, too, I mean, Niedermayer probably thought that he did get a penalty because he did kind of come crashing into that fray. That was happening right in front of Vokoun, but it was Vokoun that was the guilty man, and now the right amount of time is put onto the penalty. That was the problem.
Okay, 1:14 to go, and we're ready to play hockey again here. Face-off won by Daniel Briere, back to Jay Bouwmeester. Briere tries to feed it out in front. Heatley in there to scoop it up in behind the net. Morrow's in front. Heatley moving around here. Far boards with Brewer, and Bouwmeester sneaking in. Try to flip one ahead to Brewer, and now he'll have to retreat. Luongo comes out of the goal to steer it towards Heatley. He's pinned along the end boards, but he rolls off that check easily and gets it to Jay Bouwmeester. Bouwmeester, who would love to make amends for having his pocket picked in the first period, flips it in there. Morrow meets it in the corner. Now back to Bouwmeester. Gets it to Morrow. Into the corner for Heatley. Rolls away from him. Scooped up by Slager. And Yuri Slager sends it down.
You got to like it when you see one of the smallest guys, the smallest guy on Team Canada, Daniel Briere, in there first on top of the puck carrier. And not only that, he slams him into the boards. I mean, Daniel Briere has been taking the body throughout this game. That's good leadership.
Morrison was the first guy to that puck, but it was sent around the near side, and Schultz wasn't there to meet it. And that will do it for the penalty. Vokoun's penalty is now over. Teams back at even strength. So Canada does get one power play goal out of the deal, and it's 2-1. Here's Ryan Smith. Right in, fakes the shot. Never got a shot away, then blew a tire and crashes into the end boards.
They whistled that down offside.
Must have been offside at the line.
It was, but you could not hear the whistle, and then all of a sudden Ryan Smith heard the whistle and he went to turn. Oh boy, I'll tell you, that was serious looking, but Ryan Smith got right up. You can just never tell in those situations, because when you got your leg out like that going full steam into the boards, that's about as dangerous as it gets.
And I'll repeat, it is loud in here. Tough to hear the whistles. Crossbow right in, takes the shot right on the mark. In against Luongo. Luongo staring down Václav Prospal. And that is icing. Face-off coming up when we come back to Prague. Welcome back to Saska Arena. The building's been alive from the opening face-off. It's a close one, 2-1. Czech Republic got 2 in the first. Canada has struck back here early with a power play goal in the second. Final game of the qualification round for both these teams who have already qualified for quarterfinals. This is a battle for first place in the group and the opportunity to play the fourth place team in the opposite group. Here's Niedermeyer in there with some help, takes the shot. Rebound goes up high, and Dumont scoops it up in the corner. Rob Niedermeyer couldn't reach that one. It goes into the near side now along the boards, met by Horkov. He knocks it down, but there are 2 Czech players right on him, and they get it out. Long pass in for Dumont. Deflects off his stick right in on the Czech goal, and Niedermeyer got a little too close to Thomas Vokoun, who's feisty tonight.
Well, I think that Rob Niedermeyer is maybe just edging him along a little bit too, and you're absolutely right. Vokoun has been feisty tonight. He's maybe a little bit more than feisty. He's been somewhat vicious in the way that he's played. Rob Niedermeyer, on the other hand, with the puck clearly in Vokoun's possession and the whistle had already gone, he just took advantage of stopping right in the goal crease, almost face-to-face with Vokoun. And that's a little bit of intimidation on Rob Niedermeyer's part.
Face-off won by Canada. Wrist shot off the stick of Brewer was knocked down. There's a centering attempt from Brendan Morrison. It goes to Murray, who gets it right behind the net for Morrison. In front for Stales on his backhand. Quick shot and a nice save by Vokoun. Hooks in there on the forecheck down low. Martin Straka gets it out. Canada has looked much better here in this second period.
Well, one of the reasons has been is because they have, first of all, been skating. And they really weren't using their skating ability in that first period of play. Secondly, is that they have been much more aggressive on really the layups, the dump-ins. They've been getting in on top of that defenseman, again, using their speed, but they've been taking the body. They've been so much better on the forecheck.
Now the Czechs start out with it. This is Hammerlich now. Comes near side. Jágr takes it off the boards. Jaromir Jágr right in front of Straka. Nice stop by Luongo as he kicks it out, and Canada turns it back the other way. 2-on-1 chance here. Friesen tries to make a move, but back in position was Novak, and here comes Jágr. Jaromir Jágr right in there. Stopped by Luongo. What a showdown there. Jaromir Jágr and Roberto Luongo. Jágr's got it back on his stick, moving in, dancing around, backhander, and it deflects off the skate of Martin Havlat. Back to the line for Hammerlich. Flips it towards the goal, and deflects wide as well. Now Rob Niedermayer, without his stick, kicks it to the center ice area, and that is offside at the line.
You saw Friesen out there with Horkoff and Niedermayer. They're trying to get Friesen going. He hasn't been able to get going throughout this tournament. Meanwhile, Canada had a great opportunity, all right, but then they turned the puck over, and as a result, the Czechs had an excellent chance to score on this particular opportunity right here. Jaromir Jágr was way up almost at the blue line, between the red line and the blue line, when Canada turned the puck over, and the Czechs were quick to find him. The problem on that play, though, David, was the fact that Staios and Brewer were both being so aggressive on the forecheck that they both got caught down deep and did not see that Jágr was way behind them.
Radek Dvorak sidesteps a check from Danny Heatley. Around to Peter Pruka. Bounces into the middle where Heatley's still fishing for it. Now it comes out to center ice. Dvorak ahead to Baranek. Wide side now. Centered in there, and Luongo knocked that one down in behind his own goal. Morrow chasing Yuri Slager backwards. Daniel Briere with a nice turnover, but Morrow was caught inside the zone, so they had to circle back. Now here's Heatley. Back to Bomeister, takes the shot right on the mark, and Vokoun will stop that one every time.
Vokoun's been very aggressive in the net. He's also been very focused. Thomas Vokoun played extremely well for Nashville this year, and he had a good playoff, too, against the Detroit Red Wings. So he finished up well and then started off well here at the World Championship. Roberto Luongo, on the other hand, though, knows full well that after a couple of goals scored against him, he's got to shut the door if his team's going to win this game.
Morris fakes the shot, then gets it down deep where Patrice Bergeron scoops it up. He lost control, and here come the Czechs. Near side is Vaborny. David Vaborny, high slot, feathers it in there for Caberlet, and a nice stop there by Luongo.
Friesen's upset at himself because he knows full well that he got caught off the ice, and he did not pick up that trailer coming into the zone. There's the trailer, and Friesen was about a good stride behind him. And Roberto Luongo was able to make the save rather easily and then gave up no rebound at all.
Well, folks, if you've been with us since the start, I think you'll agree the tournament has started tonight. After games against Germany and Switzerland and Latvia, you got to go through those games, but this one's fun to watch tonight in front of a sold-out crowd. Schultz. And Morris battling for it back there for Team Canada. Comes around near side where it's kept in by Novak. Whoa, they score! Sent it on goal, and it was tipped in on the far side. And the Czech Republic has their 2-goal lead right back.
You never know what will happen if you just put the puck to the net. Marty Rucinski, though, was just cruising in to the right of Roberto Luongo. He was the first to put his hand up because he knew the puck was over the goal line. Roberto Luongo wasn't quite sure, and you know why by watching this. It ended up going across the crease and then hit Roberto Luongo's left leg, and then ended up going in after that.
Marty Rucinski with his 5th goal of the championship, joining the tournament leaders Danny Heatley and Olli Jokinen in that category, and tying Jaromir Jágr for the team lead with 8 points and the tournament lead. And And it's now 3-1. Martin Raczynski is the latest goal scorer. The Czechs with a 2-goal lead.
Wednesday, round ball on TSN, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, NBA playoffs. Shaq and the Lakers down 1-0 against Tim Duncan and the Spurs from San Antonio on Wednesday.
Roberto Luongo, and the Canadian goal has given up 3. That was a real strange one, that last one. Well, not that strange, but he almost kept it out, but snuck in on the near side, as it turned out.
Well, Novak shot the puck, and Raczynski was in the right position, but it's not as though Raczynski buried it. That puck just ended up rebounding off of Roberto Luongo's left leg, so a bit of bad luck for Roberto Luongo in this game.
An offensive explosion from the Czechs here. They had a 2-0 win over Austria, and then a 3-1 victory over Switzerland, and one of those goals came when his time has expired, so they really got it going, more so than they have so far in this round tonight against Canada. With 7.5 minutes gone in the second period. Here's Jágr. Trying to spin away from a Czech. He does. Gets the outlet pass to Martin Skula with his long shot well wide of the mark. Comes around near side and is kept in and sent in by Caberlet. In behind the net now is Havlat with it, being watched by Willie Mitchell. He turns it over to Daniel Briere. Quick outlet pass to Morrow. Drops it off to Schultz, and Schultz sends it in. Volkun with a long pass ahead to Jágr again. There's Niedermayer to meet him. Jágr tries to snap the shot away, but Niedermayer's not letting him go anywhere. Here's Straka now. Centers it. High slot. Hamrlik shoots. Saved by Luongo, and it's cleared by Team Canada. Here's Hamrlik again. Now the white jerseys are buzzing. Beranek tries a shot into the shins of Williams, who's trying to pull away now. In to help out is Friesen. But Beranek gets it back, recovers, chips it off the end boards. Williams tries to keep it in. Here's Bergeron. Off the end boards. Chasing after it is Alavich against Justin Williams. Good work here by Williams and Friesen and Bergeron. Friesen giving Novak a couple of shoves from behind. Now it comes loose for Justin Williams. He's bumped off the puck. Friesen scoops it up. Moves out into the face-off circle. Drops it off for Bouwmeester. Gets it back in the net. Scott Niedermayer is in a pushing and shoving match with Joseph Beranek in front of the net.
And then Beranek ended up dumping Niedermayer.
With a wild swing of his stick. Now here's Scott Niedermayer, centers the puck. And out they come. On the move. Staying on side was Dvorak. Alavich angled off, and they get it out.
What a burst of speed we saw from Dvorak. He has got great acceleration, and he sure used it on that shift.
He had to come back to stay on side. Here's Prospel now. On his backhand, tries to fish it in front. Rolls into the corner. Spinning away from a check is Raczynski. Now he centers it for Prospel. Quick shot. Stopped by Luongo. Battle behind the net. Prospel's lost his helmet. They're still pushing and shoving. He has to grab that right away. Smith crashing in there against Volkun, who came well out of his net. Now here's Horkov. In behind the goal, centers it, and Niedermayer couldn't get the shot away. Horkov gets it right back. Along the near side, right in front. And Stales couldn't take it off his skate. Here's Rob Niedermayer trying to work out. Horkov trying to get away from his own guy, Rob Niedermayer. Brewer pinching along the boards, gets it to Niedermayer. Smith back there as well. And Slager will just chip it off the boards, relieving a little bit of pressure as we're past the midway mark of the second period. 3-1 hockey game here, a good one. It's got some feeling here tonight. Here's Brewer now on the move, had it poked away by Yuri Zopita. Oh, and they almost sprung Peter Pruka, but it hopped over his stick. They love that long surprise pass.
Lots of chippiness behind the blade.
Morrison now chases it along the far boards. Gets it to Steve Stales, being watched by Pruka. Brewer back to Stales. Now Morrison, fans on the pass attempt, turns it over. And this is Pruka. He's sandwiched between a couple of Canadians. Alinka was tripped up on the play. Crowd wants to see a call. They're not going to get one. Here's Matt Cook into the middle for Morrison. He's got Murray with him. Rolls off his stick. Again, Canada trying to carry it in over the line. That's not what the head coach wants to see. Unless he's changed his orders, and I don't think he has. Back to the line for Morse. Near side to Schultz. Winds up, fires right on through a crowd. Now there's a penalty call coming up. As there's all kinds of pushing and shoving around the Czech Republic goal. Penalty call coming up when we come back. So Prague.
Making it 3-1. News that Martin Rucinski will not have Brian Burke as his boss next year. Guys, Brian Burke has been fired as general manager of the Canucks.
Well, Morrison is getting the penalty. The replay you were seeing is Luongo's save, but Morrison ended up getting a penalty, which I'm sure is going to be for goaltender interference. He was battling right in the crease with Bokun.
Vancouver there, and we were expecting to see Steve Tambellini arriving. He is part of the Brain Trust for Team Canada for the World Cup. He was the general manager of this team a year ago, and he has not arrived as of yet. Jim Nill, the general manager this year, saying they weren't sure he was going to come, and maybe now we know why. As Tambellini would be a candidate for that job. You would think.
There's no question he would be an excellent general manager in the National Hockey League. No doubt about that in my mind.
Here's a quick shot from the point off the stick of Slager that was deflected up high into the netting.
And I've had the good opportunity to work with Steve Tambellini, as I did a year ago with Team Canada when I was fortunate enough to be able to coach the team at the Deutschland Cup and then again at the Sweden game. So he would, without question, be a great general manager. At the same time, I hate to see Brian Burke lose his job, but Brian Burke is a good hockey man, and he'll be back as a general manager in the National Hockey League someplace very, very quickly.
Niedermeyer steps into the face-off circle, or where they're holding the face-off here, just outside the circle. And Canada clears. Daniel Briere got it out and then just waved for some fresh legs to take his place, and it's Sean Horkoff. Here's Yager in over the line. Gets it far side now. Now it's flipped in down low where it's meant behind the goal by Havlat. Brewers in there back fighting forward with Yager. Yager turns it over to Horkoff, who slams it off the boards and down the ice. 1 minute gone here in the penalty to Brendan Morrison for interference. Offside is the call at the line.
Well, Canada had such a great start to this second period. But now they have kind of, in the last 5-6 minutes, gotten back into some of their old ways in the first period. Not quite as intense, battling just as hard, but not quite utilizing the speed that they used at the start of this second period. As I had pointed out, and as you just saw too, there have been some great battles, and some of those battles have been far behind the puck.
Renasek Caberlet started to rush up. Now he's got the puck in his stick again. Try to pass far side, and he connects with Prospel. Back to Caberlet. Moves in, snaps the shot, and it's deflected in front by Brendan Morrow. Staios gets it out.
Yeah, you saw a pretty good example of the difference in the width of the ice, because Steve Staios stayed up in the blue line there, and he was trying to hold the blue line, but that extra distance allowed the Czechs to be able to get that long pass over to the left wing side and then to be able to carry the puck in.
There's a long pass from Slager. Far side. Now it comes back to Yuri Slager, the near point. This is Prospel. He turns it over to Murray. Murray drops it off for Brewer, and they'll kill the final few seconds of the penalty to Morrison, who is now stepping into the box. So the penalty killing here remains perfect.
It's a pretty amazing stat.
Especially against this team. The #1 power play unit here in the championship so far. They're just as dangerous at even strength, and they're back in there again. Dvorak trying to work away from some Czechs. Lost the puck. And Nick Schultz outlets it to Cook. One touch pass ahead to Morrison. Morrison in over the line with Murray. Brendan Morrison snaps one, but that was whistled down offside of the line.
Morrison did a good job, though, of being able to gain possession of that blue line and then looking to kind of work his way into that high slot. Unfortunately, that puck ended up being deflected, and so he never really got that shot to where he had intended it to go. Thomas Vokoun has been sharp in the net, and Canada have had their spurts in today's game. They've had some really good, solid spurts.
Here's Niedermeyer, back to Bouwmeester with room to fire, and it was kicked out. Bouwmeester had a good long look and some room to let it go, and he did. Chopping forward in the neutral zone. Yaroslav Olinka ends up with a puck and gets it near side for Peter Pruka. Long shot handled by Luongo. Rebound right to Olinka, and this time Luongo will cover up with a face-off coming up in the Canadian zone.
Canada's done a pretty good job of making sure that the Czechs, though, don't get in for a second whack at that puck whenever Roberto Luongo has stopped it. He has given up very few rebounds, and there have not been the opportunities by the Czechs for really second opportunities. You look back at the third goal, and Rudzinski was really parked right on the doorstep to the right of Luongo. That's how that goal happened, but Roberto Luongo is pretty good at controlling his rebounds.
That was Hayda firing one from the point. Did not reach the goal. Ryan Smith tried to do a little spin move with the blue line, and he ended up putting one of his teammates offside.
Borkhoff wasn't quite ready for that move on the right side. Mike Babcock has put Ryan Smith on the right side today so that he could have Rob Niedermeyer on the left side up against Yager as much as he possibly could get away with. And again, Slabalener has the last line change in today's game, but European coaches don't usually fight those line matchups too often.
Mitchell steps up to keep that puck in. Into the corner it goes. Priest is in there. It comes out in front. Williams is just a step too late, and out comes Rudzinski with the pass to Dvorak into the middle, and it's knocked off the stick of Prospel. Back the other way is Jeff Friesen. To Williams. Here's Mitchell with a shot. Puck was loose and lying there for Bergeron, and he couldn't get the shot away. Willie Mitchell with a great opportunity to get his first goal.
That was a great play by Bergeron's line. Pretty good passing out there.
Steos dumps it in. Under 5 minutes to go here in the second.
It would be a real plus if Bergeron's line started to really click offensively. Getting Friesen going is important to this hockey club. Success.
Jeff Friesen just 1 assist so far. And his numbers, as you know, were well off the mark here in the NHL season. Just 37 points in 81 games, far below his standard. Ryan Smith at center ice. Tried to get it ahead to Rob Niedermeyer. Scrambly play now here in the neutral zone. Here's Steos ahead to Rob Niedermeyer. And that was offside as well, with 16:22 gone in the second. 3-1.
In Ostrava, battle of the unbeaten Slovakia-Sweden, scoreless in the second period. Both teams have had 16 shots on goal. Good one going there, good one going on in Prague. Let's get back to Dave and Gary.
They are no doubt watching the scoreboard here in Prague from Ostrava. Find out who's going to finish first over here. It's going to be one of these two teams by the end of the night.
Well, for as much as Canada want to win this hockey game and end up first place in their division, I'm not so sure that this is really, that they're feeling this to be a do-or-die game by any means. It's the quarterfinal game that they're already looking forward to. That's where the pressure really is on you.
Brendan Morrison into Cook. Quick pass into Murray on the backhand, and he tried to go short side. Cook scoops it up in behind the goal. Good shift here going by the Morrison, Cook, Murray unit. Brendan Morrison now flips it ahead, trying to find Murray on the move, but Jan Hlavich was watching him. Now Cook is given a shove from behind, and Canada is going to go on the power play. Referee was standing right there, saw Martin Skula the whole way, and Skula's going to sit down.
Well, Skula ended up in a real battle there in some respect. I mean, Murray went down. Hlavich also was guilty. on that same play around behind the net, he could have ended up getting one for cross-checking. But the Czechs are in the penalty box, and Canada will now see whether or not they can get this power play going that clicked so well for them in the game against Germany.
Their lone goal has come on the power play here tonight. It was a two-man advantage scored by Glenn Murray. And that play is whistled down as they can't dig that puck loose. This is the 8th time that they have hosted the World Championship, or rather the 9th time. They've hosted it 8 previous times here in this country, and the home team has never failed to win a medal. They've missed the podium the last 2 years. They finished 4th a year ago in Finland, the Czech Republic did, and they're loaded for bear here to win gold. 5-0 coming into tonight's action. The only perfect record so far in the championship. Here's Heatley in the corner with Morrow in front. Trying to get it to Morrow. Comes back to the line for Niedermeyer into Briere. Daniel Briere now taking his time. Back to Scott Niedermeyer. Far side for Morris. Back to Niedermeyer. Winds up. Lets it go. It's deflected wide. Now Heatley hustling after the loose puck. Morris keeps it into the line. Flipped over to Scott Niedermeyer. Down low to Briere. Briere pulls it back. Takes the shot. Try to go 5-hole. Volkoon stopped it. And look who's right in the thick of things, number 19.
Yeah, Morrow was taking a rough ride, but that's the price you pay when you end up standing right in front of the net. And Morrow is accustomed to doing that. Doing a good job of it as well. Canada were really trying to move that puck around quickly. And you could see that Briere had a little bit of extra time because Novak ended up committing himself, going down thinking that Briere was going to shoot the puck. And there, Morrow was given a little loving assistance at getting out of the crease.
In case you missed it, Morrow leveled Jaroslav Spacek early in this period and knocked him right out of the game. He had to be taken off, wheeled to the dressing room on a stretcher. Faceoff comes back to the line. Brewer flips it ahead, handled by Murray. Gets it deep for Ryan Smith. Back near side for Murray, hops over his stick, so Brewer will circle around. Here's Brewer. Trying to feed Bouwmeester, and instead it's cut off, and the Czechs come out short-handed. At center ice is Berenik. Murray back-checking. Takes care of Berenik. Berenik takes a swipe at Murray. It's the second time he's done that in his hockey game tonight.
Great effort by Glenn Murray on the back check and then on the battle.
Berenik was swinging his stick earlier at Scott Niedermeyer, and then he took a swipe at the much bigger Glenn Murray. Now here's Morrison at center ice with 25 seconds to go, the man advantage. Smith is the first guy there against Hamrlik. Morrison blows a tire, falls down, and the Czechs are able to skate this one out, getting it to Ruchinski, who sends it down the ice. Radek Dvorak was the first guy in. Luongo got it to Brewer. Rob Niedermeyer now. Just seconds to go in the Czech penalty, which is now over. Teams back at even strength for the last minute here of the second. Sean Horkoff now dancing around at center ice, being watched by Skula. Here's Willie Mitchell. What a great opportunity to get a shot away just moments ago. Niedermeyer feeds one ahead. Bergeron's in after it, but getting there first was Kaberle. Pass up into the middle for Ruchinski. Takes it off his skate. He'll just flip it in there off the end boards. Rob Niedermeyer now to his brother Scott on the move at center ice. Scott Niedermeyer tried to return the favor back to brother Rob. It bounces off a skate, but keeping it in is Scott Niedermeyer now battling against Yuri Slager. Heatley goes in there as well. Now at center ice, big collision along the near boards as time winds down.
Yager's right in the middle of it.
Yager's in there. He's lost his helmet. I think this one doesn't mean anything to either side here tonight.
Well, I don't know how many media members came up to me from other countries before the game tonight and said, you know something, this ought to be a great game, because the Czechs and Canadians hate each other, don't they?
Heatley's in there. Scott Niedermeyer. Look at him go. Slager
I think Sucker shot Niedermeyer there. And this is nowhere near ending. The referee's just standing watching this as the linesmen are all tangled up.
Yager's got Morrow down.
Straka got a hold of Mitchell. Yeah, there's been some feeling in this one tonight. There's a lot of pressure on this team wearing the white jerseys here, I'll tell you that right now. Every fan, every media member is expecting gold, and they want to see some results tonight. Yager's still jawing at Niedermeyer.
Well, Yager's putting on a bit of a show here for his hometown crowd.
I don't know how many fights either one of those guys have been in.
Well, this should be a pretty good carryover into the third period of play. Canada down by a couple of goals, but it's been a big battle throughout this game thus far, and as I mentioned many times, there's been a lot of chippiness behind the play. Things that have been happening behind the play that have not been penalized, and when you don't penalize them and stop them right off the bat, as the officials have not done in this game, then it eventually boils over.
Well, while the players catch their breath, we'll catch ours. 1 period to go in Prague. Back to Rudd.
Ugly over there. These guys know each other well. I guess they play the NHL season. A Devil and a Ranger going. Jaromir Jagr and Scott Niedermeyer. I can't recall any fight that they've ever been in.
No, neither of them are known for that. But that's what what happens when you put your country's jersey on and playing in your home building like the Czechs are. They've got something to prove to everybody, and like Gary Green was saying, there's no love lost between these two teams. There's a very long past of international hockey.
Better period for Canada, still trailing by 2 goals. This also could be a preview of a gold medal game. Canada played 9 games at last year's Worlds, all against different opponents. They could meet the Czechs again, providing they keep winning when the quarterfinals begin.
Yeah, that's the only way they're going to meet each other because of the flip-flop. Once they get after they come out of these groups and they start going in the elimination rounds, that's the way it could turn out. But I don't think either team wants to play each other again, and that's probably why you see a few players are braver in a game like this than they normally would be, because they know, well, I'm not going to see you for probably another 4 or 5 months. So that's why you see a lot of this going on. Plus, everybody knows the rules are different there. If there is a fight, you're going to get tossed out. Nobody wants to put their team in a situation where there's going to be a fight. So when there's not the fighting, you get the punches in the face washes, the sticks, and so forth.
As we just saw. We'll see if that carries over to the third period. Let's talk about some of the other action going on. A big game earlier today. Finland eliminating Russia, which means that Russia will not finish in the top 8 at the Worlds, and they have to go through another qualification to get to the Olympic Games for touring. Can you believe that? Latvia beat Austria, really a nothing game there. They will cross over, and Slovakia and Sweden scoreless right now. Again, Canada, if they can win this game, would play the United States on Wednesday in the quarterfinals. A loss or a tie means a game Thursday against Sweden or Finland. And it very well could be Finland, too. Regardless, you still have to win these games, and the opposition does get better and better.
Well, you can see by the other group where you've got Slovakia, you've got Sweden, you've got Finland, USA. Those are much stronger teams. So this is, in today's game for Canada, this is really the first true test of a team that they've been playing, being the Czech Republic. So for Canada, the tests just start. This is the first one, and the games are going to get tougher and tougher as they go along, and that's the way it usually works in tournaments.
It did last year, too, and Canada did get better and better. They're going to need to get better in the third period. Reed and White is coming up. If Canada wins, they play the United States, as mentioned. If they lose or tie, they will play against the Swedes or the Finns, and that game would be on Thursday, and all the action from the Worlds on TSN. Martin Rucinski, Vancouver Canuck, makes it 3-1. Glenn Murray scored for Canada in the second. We'll talk more about Murray and Team Canada when we come back.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Mitchum M3. So effective, you could skip a day.
Back in the newsroom, I'm Rod Smith. Other hockey news today, as you may have heard, the Vancouver Canucks announcing that they will not renew the contract of general manager Brian Burke. So in other words, he has been fired. Burke spending 6 years with the Canucks, winning their first division title this past season. However, his fate may have been sealed with an early playoff exit and the whole Todd Bertuzzi incident. Meanwhile, the Saddledome should be rocking tonight as the Calgary Flames can eliminate the Detroit Red Wings and advance to the conference finals for the first time since 1989. We'll have a preview of Game 6 on SportsCenter. According to the Philadelphia Flyers website, goaltender Robert Ashe, who left Game 5, is suffering from flu-like symptoms and should be ready for Game 6 against the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow night, with Philadelphia looking to wrap it up, leading 3-2. We'll have much more on the Burke firing and the whole hockey story for you on SportsCenter at 6:30 Eastern.
Here's the summary.
Well, he's going to be saying, let's go, guys. We got to pick it up. They had a great start to the period, and they tailed off near the end. They're worrying about winning the final period, finishing on a high note. They definitely want to win the game. But if they don't, it's not the end of the tournament for Team Canada.
We'll see how the end of that period transpires into the third with some testosterone out on that ice. We'll find out in a moment. 3-1 Czech Republic after 2. Welcome back to Hockey Control here in Toronto. Rod Black, Dave Reed. We'll get back to Prague in a moment. Loser draw, this is not the end of the worlds because you go to the qualification, of course, next. But this could set the tone, some of the ugly stuff that happened at the end of that period into this period and maybe into the playdowns.
Well, it really could. I don't think they wanted to do that. As you can see here, there was some chirping going on off the ice as both teams went to their locker room. But Team Canada's got to build off this, and they come out aggressive in the third period. They've got a better chance of winning the game, and you definitely want to win the game. You don't want to lose anything in this tournament.
So the two sides have words, trade some punches, as a matter of fact. Maybe familiarity breeds contempt. They just finished an NHL season with some of these guys. We'll see what happens when we send it back to Prague for this third period. Again, Canada, if they lose or draw, will play against Sweden or Finland on Thursday. If they win, they will meet United States on Wednesday. So here we go back to Prague right now. We're getting ready to send it to Dave Randorf and Gary Green. Third period puck drop.
Welcome back to Prague. We apologize for technical difficulties in coming back late here in the third period. Or the Czechs have just struck on the power play. You're catching the replays, and I'll tell you what, it was a beauty by that guy right there, Václav Prospal. Out of all that big mess at the end of the second period, Canada ended up with the extra 2. And there's another shot in on goal on Luongo. And the Czechs did not take long to make them pay on the power play. It is now 4-1 on the goal by Vinny Prospal.
I'm not quite sure how Canada ended up with the additional 2. First of all, they announced that it was Morrill who got the additional 2. Then they announced that it was Heatley, and really on the score clock, well, on the scoreboard, I should say, it was Niedermayer that got the additional 2. So rather confusing once again. That's kind of been the norm for today's game.
Niedermayer got the double minor for roughing, and if you were watching that scrum, you saw Yuri Schlegel involved, and he definitely threw a forearm, I think, or a punch at Scott Niedermayer, and he didn't get anything.
No, not a thing.
Well, it's all in the past now. It's all in the books, and it ended up being a power play goal very early here in the third. 4-1 Czech Republic. It was Radek Dvorak and Prospal with the give and go, tic-tac-toe into the net. It was a nice goal.
Well, it's no surprise to the Czechs' capabilities offensively, and it was just a beautiful play, a great pass. You sure can't blame Roberto Luongo for this. He was left alone 2-on-0. The Czechs have scored more goals than any other team in this tournament.
And here they come again. That's Jan Hlavich with Vaborny. Drops it off for Vaborny. It's out of his reach, and J.P. Dumont can't clear. Berena keeps it deep. Willie Mitchell knocks it out of the air and tries to get it up the boards for Dumont. There's Bergeron fishing forward at his skates along with Vaborny. Finally, Mitchell comes in there and gets it loose. Dumont chips it in deep. Vokoun out of his net to handle it. It hops over his stick. Comes around near side where Williams is given a bump. Dumont turns it over to Kaberle. Out of the reach of Jan Hlavich. Eric Brewer back to get it for Canada. Goes far side for Steve Stales. Bergeron will get it deep and then head for the bench. Here's Martin Raczynski. Makes one move around Smith, but left the puck back there, so he has to circle back, and they'll reset. Now here's Brewer deep in his own zone. Prospel, the latest goal scorer, centers the puck. Dvorak now has it on the far side. There's Slager. Into the corner now, and behind the goal is Raczynski trying to work his way out in front. One hand on the stick on his backhand, gets it away, and Luongo makes the stop, and then he took, I think, a chop from Prospel.
Well, Horcoff didn't like the idea that Prospel ended up taking another poke at that puck that was clearly already held by Roberto Luongo. So the tempers continue to boil over here between these two hockey clubs. Roberto Luongo had possession of it. You see Prospel in there trying to take a jab of it, and then that stick ended up coming up in the air, and it actually hit Roberto Luongo right in the face mask. That's what upset Horcoff so much.
I think it was actually Horcoff's stick that got Luongo, but regardless, Horcoff was in there clearing the body out because he did not like the fact that Prospel was in there, and look who gets the penalty. Sean Horcoff, 2 for roughing. But there's also going to be 1 to Prospel as well. So coincidental minors as both players are in the box. And we have 4-on-4 here, just 2.5 minutes into what's been a pretty eventful game. Certainly can't argue that.
And with 4-on-4, you know the Jaromir Jagr is going to be on the ice for sure with that much room.
And he is up front with Straka. Here's Jay Bomeister skating in. Drifts one towards the net. Almost mishandled there by Vokoun. He goes back of the goal. Morrison trying to muscle Jagr off the puck, which is tough to do. Here's Straka now. Former Pittsburgh Penguin, now the LA King, gets it far side. As the Czechs are back in on the move. Jagr to Straka. And the one-timer failed to connect. The Czech captain was right in there. Murray over to Bomeister. Into the middle for Murray again. Rolls off his stick. And now Straka has all kinds of room to just flip it in, and now he'll head to the bench. Staios now skates it out of his own zone. Trying to feed it ahead for Briere. Jan Hayden now chasing after it against Heatley. 57 seconds left in the coincidental minors. Here's Brewer now, up the left wing with Briere. Eric Brewer snaps a shot, rebound, Heatley. Oh, nice save by Thomas Vokoun. Heatley gets back up on his feet. Heatley was on that loose puck like a shark. And Vokoun made a nice stop in close. Back of the goal now. Brewer circles out of his own corner. Eric Brewer stepping up nicely in that play, but that one is going to be icing and coming all the way back down. 4-1 Czechs here in Prague.
Bauer Nike Hockey supports the development programs of Hockey Canada for players, coaches, and officials, helping all hockey participants in Canada realize their dreams. Bauer Nike Hockey, premier sponsor of Hockey Canada.
Well, what do you think Mike Babcock's thinking over there right now?
Well, I'm thinking right now that Mike Babcock doesn't like the way that the Czechs are getting in behind his defense.
Shot from the point, stopped by Luongo. That's what happened on the opening goal of this period. Power play or not.
Back to the line. Caberlet drifts one in towards Luongo, handles it easily and leaves it for Mitchell. Roberto Luongo, you'll likely see him the rest of the way. Babcock said as much after J.S. Jaguar played well against Germany, although the Germans were certainly outgunned yesterday.
Yeah, the Germans did not play a solid game. I mean, nothing like we thought that they would play. Now that was either going to be good or bad for Canada. The good thing was for Canada, as Mike Babcock pointed out, was that it taught them and really reinforced a lot of the teaching lessons the coaching staff have been giving them. One of those teaching lessons being don't be stick handling all through the neutral zone, especially. All of these teams over here compete so well between the two blue lines that you don't want to be turning the puck over because they've got quick transition games. And Mike Babcock also took the opportunity before the game against Germany to show his players some video whereby they were handling the puck an awful lot in the neutral zone, trying to stick handle around players. And the reinforcement that they got out of the German game was the fact that if you put the puck in deep, you'll end up scoring more goals because you'll really take advantage of other teams' weaknesses. Weaknesses being the fact that their defense don't control that aggressiveness as well as an awful lot of the National Hockey League defensemen can do, of course.
Morris up the middle looking for Bergeron. He couldn't control the pass. Dumont's in there battling for it. So is Friesen. Milan Kraft, who's not had a lot of ice time. Kraft with the Pittsburgh Penguins wearing number 14. He's out there right now.
And again, that was against the German defense, and this Czech defense are much more accustomed to being able to handle that aggressiveness, and they know how the Canadians are going to play, and they know also that you've got to move the puck quickly because somebody's going to be coming in right on top of you and are going to be taking the body on you.
Bergeron down the right side, bumped off the puck by Roman Hammerling. Yuri Slager chips it off the boards. That was too high, in off the netting.
And Slager didn't like the fact that Friesen was checking him behind the bench, or behind the net, I should say, as you take a look at the bench. Lanny McDonald, there's the general manager, Jim Nill. Beside Jim Nill is Johnny Misley, the vice president of Hockey Canada. But Friesen and Slager were having some words for the actions that were occurring behind the net on that play.
Well, with 5:42 gone here in the third period, regardless of what the end result is of this hockey game, Canada just wants to get back to some good habits as Ryan Smith charges towards the front of the net and scores on the wraparound. And the captain finally has his first goal of this championship. The light is on. The referee signaled that it was in.
Yeah, the Czechs are going to argue it, Dave, based on the fact that they think Ryan Smith interfered with the goaltender, but not a chance. I mean, he just wrapped it around here, but there was some interference going on with the goaltender, but it was after the puck was already in the net. You can see that Niedermayer did come crashing in right over top of Bokun, but that was after the puck had already crossed the goal line. Ryan Smith picking up the goal through a wraparound. Canada has done that already in this tournament, utilizing plays from behind the net and wrapping around and putting the puck underneath the goaltender.
Told you before, Ryan Smith playing his 6th consecutive World Championship. The all-time leader in games played for Team Canada at these championships as well. It's a goal here in the third period. Glenn Murray is the other Canadian goal scorer, and it's 4-2 as Morris fires one right in on Vokun. Stops that, leaves it for Skula. Former member of the Colorado Avalanche. Now plays down in Anaheim after he was traded for Kurt Sauer. Plays for Mike Babcock. Kaberle tried to find Radek Dvorak. Brzezinski lost his footing. Here's Morris now into the middle for Morrison. Morrison in over the line, takes the shot, and Vokun makes the save. Thomas Vokun's numbers coming into this game are unbelievable. 4 wins, 2 losses, a 970, or no losses, I beg your pardon, a 970 save percentage, a .5 goals against.
But at the same time, just like Canada had weaker competition in the preliminary round and also in the qualification round up until tonight's game, the same can be said. I mean, their competition was no stronger than that of Canada's, of course. Canada defensively actually are the best team in this tournament, as they are #1, having coming into tonight's game only allowing 4 goals against.
More pushing and shoving as Canada was trying to get it in deep. We'll be back right after this.
Back in Prague at the World Championship. Don't forget the OC down the dial on CTV, the season finale. Wednesday night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. The OC on CTV.
Back in Prague here, Rob Niedermeyer has taken a 2-minute minor penalty. So the Czech Republic will go back on the power play. They've got 1 power play goal already here in this period. Niedermeyer was trying to dump it in on the last play and got all tied up and started jawing a little bit and pushing and shoving with Roman Hamrlik. And now he'll sit down and watch for 2. Olmeister sends it in. Here's David Vaborny. Vaborny's had an awful lot of chances in the few games that we've caught earlier on, but he hasn't been able to cash in enough. Now he's skating it up. Vaborny in over the line, gets it far side for Jágr. Being watched there by Olmeister. Back to the line for Kaberle. There's Vaborny again with it. The Columbus Blue Jacket forward gets it down low to Jágr. Jágr tries to move in front, centers it. Vaborny on his backhand. Luongo is down. Goes back of the net. Now it's scooped up again by Jágr. Jágr taking his time here with 1:12 to go on the power play. Back to the line. Return back to Jágr. Down low. Given back to Jágr again. At the top of the circle. Moves in towards the middle. Feathers it in there for Pruka. He tried to center it, and Olmeister blocked that pass attempt. Now Kaberle round the boards for Pruka. Back to the line for Straka. Martin Straka. Far side for Kaberle. Here's Straka again. Fakes the shot. Hops off the stick of Pruka. Time ticking off the clock here. This is fine with Canada. Jágr being watched there by Glenn Murray. And finally it comes out and over the line.
Morrison has a chance to get off the ice because he didn't have a stick.
Straka fires a shot that's well off the mark. That deflects all the way down the ice.
Czechs were kind of playing against 5-on-3.5. Morrison just held his position at the top of the box, though, looking to maybe block a shot, but he didn't have a stick.
Here's Prospel now, who has the power play marker. The first power play goal Canada has allowed. There's a hot shot off the stick of Yuri Slegr. Now Rob Niedermeyer steps out of the box. This one is over, right in front. Luongo's down. Prospel gets the shot away, and somehow that one stays out. Had Luongo down and out, and he couldn't get it upstairs. Now here's Dvorak. Prospel regains his stick in front of the net. Almost made it 5-2.
Vinny Prospel isn't going to miss on too many of those opportunities when you're given that much time. He seemed to stand there with possession of the puck for a long, long time.
Where should I put this one? The Tampa Bay Lightning in scoring a couple of seasons ago. Heatley's in there, crashing along with Smith. Smith, the recent goal scorer for Team Canada. Into the middle it goes. Now on the move is Jan Halavich. Trying to move around. Schultz gets in there. Rebound. And that is clear just in time. Good rush there by Halavich of the New York Rangers. Back to the line and some miscommunication. It rolls out to center ice. Midway mark now of the third period. Icing is the call.
Well, Canada just keeps chipping away here, but at the same time, they've kind of given that momentum back to the Czechs. Roberto Luongo, he stopped that puck by Vinny Prospel with his back to him. Watch. He turned his back, and he went down almost Dominic Hasek style there, but he kept the puck out. Somehow. Amazingly.
Well, the focus will be, the spotlight will be even hotter once the next game begins. Next game, it's win or go home, as far as the gold medal is concerned. Here's Skula. Backpedaling and then advancing out of his own zone. Flips up into the air for Hlinka. The Czechs not going to get too fancy here. They want to protect their perfect record. They come in 5-0 against Canada, 4-0-1 entering the game tonight. And a 14-game unbeaten streak on the line here as well. Bergeron tries to center the puck. It takes a deflection off the end boards. Williams centers, comes back to Niedermeyer, drifts one in there. It's wide of the mark. Now Williams back to the line for Bouwmeester, takes a shot. Not a lot on that one, but it missed the net. Now here's Bergeron again with Dumont in front. They're digging for it. Dumont crashes on top of Vokun. But the Czech goaltender has got it.
Here's our game story brought to you by Chevrolet for all life's roads.
Well, Radek Dvorak having a great game. 2 assists. Glenn Murray, power play goal in the second. The shots, Czech Republic 27, Canada 18.
4-2 Czechs as we send it back to the Czech Republic.
Well, here's the strange thing. Whoever wins this game plays Wednesday. Whoever loses this game plays Thursday. The loser ends up with a better advantage because going into the quarterfinal game, you end up with 2 days rest. Go figure.
Ryan Smith moves out in front, centered it looking for Horkoff, and Horkoff was all tied up. Now he centers it, and the Czechs will skate it out. Jopita with a long pass ahead. This is Peter Pruka, one-on-one against Mitchell, throws it out in front, and nobody's there except for Rob Niedermeyer. Now Horkoff to Ryan Smith, leaves it for Rob Niedermeyer, snaps a shot, gets it back, tries again. Horkoff's knocked off his skates. Niedermeyer has it again. Back to the line it goes, and out. Luongo well out of his net to start the rush back the other way. Mitchell stepping up, flips it in there. Skula sends it back near side. And this is going to be icing, coming back down into the end of the Czech Republic.
I just want to go back to that point again because I discussed it with Mike Polino, the assistant coach to Mike Babcock, before the game. And again, the way that Canada looked at it, though, was the fact that they thought that that was an advantage to play actually Wednesday because then you'd have 2 days off before the semifinal game. And so, you know, kind of was a difference.
Got to get there first.
But you've got to get there first. And at the same time, that quarterfinal game, to me, is the most important game to be well rested for. You win that game, then you're on a roll. But you can look at it from both ways, obviously. And the tournament organizers must look at it for the fact that it is not an advantage to have 2 days rest.
Well, the other factor there is that by playing the quarterfinal on Wednesday, the first place team will play fourth place United States, and they still have a game to play tomorrow. So they are now going to have to play Tuesday and then turn around 24 hours later and play a quarterfinal against the first place squad.
They'd actually have to play, David, 4 games in 5 days. I mean, that's a tough schedule here at this tournament.
Peter Laviolette's team making it to the quarterfinal round. Now here comes Yager. Moving in, Yager angled off by Brewer. Circles back and gets it deep. Vaborny tries to center. Morrison cuts that off. Under 7 minutes to go now. In a game that's kind of gone back and forth a little bit, but now the Czechs appear anyway to have it under control with a 2-goal lead, but there's still lots of time left. Here comes Prospel now. Takes a shot that's well wide of the mark. And the Czechs shifted gears here, protecting a 2-goal lead.
Well, they're playing a more defensive brand of hockey, though, of course, with that 2-goal lead. They're still trying to control that puck when they get it. They're not one to do a lot of dumping and chasing, but they're just trying to keep it out of Canada's hands.
And they do so here. They'll skate it out. That's Radek Dvorak, showing a good burst of speed, but he had it poked away. Out to center ice it comes for Roman Hamrlik. Prospel now, far side for Dvorak. Buchinski joins the rush, and they can't keep it into the line as Hamrlik was a step too late, so he circles back.
The Czechs are really just killing time here. When they get, unless they get a perfect opportunity, they seem to be going back to their defensemen with it, moving it around, spreading out.
That play cut off by Hlavich along the far board. Scott Niedermayer was right in the thick of all that pushing and shoving at the end of the second. Now here they come, right in front. Baranek scores! Another pretty one by the Czechs off a turnover, and it is 5-2.
Yeah, Horkoff tried to stick handle to the neutral zone right at about the red line, and I'm sure that Mike Babcock will use that as an example of what he's been talking about before. And as a result, the Czechs then got possession of the puck, and then when it went back to Baranek, even though that puck was rolling, he just put it right upstairs with a perfect shot, somewhat similar to the second goal that the Czechs scored in tonight's hockey game, also scored by Baranek on the pass by Dvorak.
Baranek had no goals coming into this game. He's got 2 tonight, both of them pretty ones. Here's Canada back on the attack. Horkoff with a one-timer and a beauty of a kick save by Voku, who's been solid down at the other end. Baranek, the former Flyer and Canuck, originally a draft pick of the Edmonton Oilers way back when. Now here's Kraft. He's in there. Scores! And the floodgates are wide open now.
Well, Milan Kraft, that plays for the Pittsburgh Penguins, ended up picking up a loose puck after 2 Canadian players were guilty of trying to take one man out. Watch this. You can see that Schultz went with his man, but then he ended up just colliding with his defense partner, and that left the puck loose for Milan Kraft. This is Milan Kraft's first World Championship, one of the few players in this hockey club that has not experienced the World Championship before, and the Czechs have just really lit it up. Now, shouldn't be a surprise to Canada, though. I go back to that exhibition game on the Thursday night before this tournament started. 8-5. 8 goals were scored against Canada.
And whenever Canada counters with a chance of their own, Thomas Vokoun has been right there. Tempers flare again in Prague.
The Molson Canadian $100,000 Rockstar Road Trip. You can have 48 hours to blow 100 grand from coast to coast, and you can't have anything to show for it. What are you going to do if you find a platinum bottle? Must be 19 or over, no purchase necessary.
A final from Ostrava, no goals. Slovakia, Sweden, scoreless draw. That means Finland will play Canada, the third-place team against second-place Canada. Providing this score holds up, that game will be played. The quarterfinals begin Thursday, and we'll have it on TSN. No goals, Sweden and Slovakia. That game on Thursday, you'll check your listings. It will be Canada against Finland, Slovakia and Sweden, both unbeaten in their pool. Back to Prague.
No goals between 2 high-powered teams, especially the Slovaks. Very surprising there, but it's all come together now. Now we know. Canada is about 4 minutes away from a quarterfinal matchup against the Finns, team they did not meet a year ago in Turku and Helsinki. The last meeting was in the bronze medal game of the 2000 World Championship, as it's flipped out and down the ice.
And Finland ended up winning that game 2-1.
They were hoping to have Saku Koivu in their lineup, but became known that Koivu was playing that second-round series against the Tampa Bay Lightning extremely banged up with cracked ribs, torn rib cartilage, and other ailments, so he has not made the trip. He was the captain last year and often answers the call, but just couldn't.
Well, it was amazing after learning all of his injuries that he was still able to play in the playoffs.
No doubt.
This building is wild, isn't it?
It is quite a scene right in front. Canada can't get a hold of it. Everybody is standing and jumping in their seats. It is an amazing, everybody, I'm talking everybody.
Over 17,000 people, minus the Canadian contingent, are doing exactly that. Standing and
right.
clapping.
There's about 50
and
people
jumping.
who aren't standing and jumping. As Canada comes in again, Stayouts with a weak backhander handled by Vokoun. Play is whistled down with under 3 minutes to go.
Well, you've got to give a lot of credit to Thomas Vokoun the way that he has played in today's game, too. He has been aggressive between the pipes, and he has been focused. The shots on net right now are 33-20 in favor of the Czech Republic.
As mentioned, they have not won a medal of the World Championship for 2 straight years, but between 1996 and 2001, they won 4 gold and 2 bronze. And they want to add another gold here on home ice. There's a chance for Mitchell. Vokoun came right out to attack him, and then it was cleared in behind him by all kinds of white jerseys there. Canada battling to the end here. Bergeron with a backhander in on the goal, and Vokoun will cover that up as well with about 2.5 minutes to go.
Well, you know, quite honestly, coming into this game, as much as we talked about the fact that Canada wanted to play a great game today, and of course they wanted to win. But I'll go back to that same problem that Canada faces time and time again, even up against stiff competition, is there has to be more on the line than just placing in the qualification round. Do you think that Canada really cared whether or not they played the U.S., Sweden, Finland? I mean, they knew that it was an important game today to play well, but they also kept talking about the fact that quarterfinal game, that's what we've really got to be ready for.
Okay, fair enough. So the question becomes, did they play well tonight to take that momentum into the quarterfinal matchup on Thursday?
I think they know what they've got to do in the quarterfinal, and I don't think there's going to be a great carryover from one game to the other anyway. They've had some pretty good spurts today, but they also have learned an awful lot. They've learned that against a better competition, they've got the speed, the skill level to get in behind your defense if you're not sharp. They also have the abilities to move the puck much quicker as defensemen. And again, these defensemen that we're seeing out today for the Czech Republic, they're accustomed to playing in the National Hockey League as well, and they know full well that they got to move the puck quickly. And I'm talking about guys like Hammerlick and Cabriolet, of course, and Slager and Skula. I mean, these guys weren't going to have anything the Canadians did today come as a surprise to them. So what Canada's really learned is that it gets tougher, and it just keeps getting tougher from here on in. But the most important game to them will be the quarter round game that is coming up on Thursday.
Justin Williams with a shot. Dumont's crashing the net. Bergeron's in behind the goal now. Skula pokes it loose. Williams still with it. Gets it to Bergeron. Dumont was waiting for that pass, but that was cut off. Knocked out of the air there by Straka, so that is whistled down. Face-off coming up.
And talk about a quarterfinal game against a team that plays about as much like Canada as you can possibly get, and that's the Finns. The Finns really play a Canadian type of game, and they have been doing that rather consistently over the course of the last 5 years. They developed that 5-step program that Canada has made so famous, and they really worked hard on adding intensity and aggressiveness into their game. They don't quit, they keep on going, and as a result, they become a better hockey nation. So they will be tough competition for Canada.
Mika Nornen has been the goaltender that's carried the load for the Finns. You'll likely see him in the quarterfinal. It's not a roster that's loaded with NHL players. There's Sami Salo, Nicholas Hagman, Ola Jokinen's had a strong tournament. Jani Niinema is there as well. Niinema had 3 assists in the game earlier today.
And Roberto Luongo will face a couple of his teammates back in Florida with Ola Jokinen and Nicholas Hagman.
We better have a beat on Jokinen. 5 goals so far in 6 games. It's going to be a big celebration in Prague tonight as the home team is going to finish the first 2 rounds undefeated. untied, perfect 6-0. Under a minute to go now, and they will look forward to a quarterfinal matchup against the United States.
Well, sooner or later at the World Championship, Canada was going to have to lose a game. They've had quite a string.
Have not lost to the World since May of 2002. You almost get the feeling it's good to get that one out of the way and just focus now on the games that really matter. Offside at the line with 31 seconds to go.
Well, you never want to lose when you're wearing that Canadian sweater. But at the same time, if you're going to let one get by you, today is the one, and not Thursday. Otherwise, you go home.
Everybody back on their feet again for the last 30 seconds. Steos dumps it in. And it's offside again.
Well, you know the officials will be very conscientious about the fact that as soon as the final buzzer goes, making sure that these players don't go after each other. I don't think that'll happen simply because they both realize how much is on the line coming up in the quarterfinals. On the other hand, tempers have been pretty high.
It's been an awful long time since the host team has won a gold medal on home ice at the World Championship. Hasn't happened since 1986. And the Soviet Union did it. This team feels they got a pretty good shot here in 2004. 6-2 final. They're on their feet, and they're nowhere near done here in Prague.
It was 32 years ago. Of course, everyone remembers Paul Henderson's goal to beat the mighty Soviet Union in the Summit Series. Well, in 1972, it was also a defining moment for Czechoslovakia, the nation at the time. They won the World Championship, beating the Soviet Union. And keep in mind, that was only a couple of months after the Soviet Union at the time had won a gold medal. So it just wasn't a big win for Canada at the Summit Series. It was a defining moment for Czechoslovakia at the time.
And that's why Gary Green touched on this earlier. He talked about the history of international hockey, and since then, the Czech Republic, or Czechoslovakia back then, and Canada have had some very, very tight hockey games, and they've created a tremendous rivalry. I think it all started about 1976, really. Didn't start 72 in Canada, but it's 1976 it started.
Yeah, the Canada Cup and Darryl Sittler's goal to win it for Team Canada. Let's go, speaking of Canada, to today's Read in White, Mr. Reid.
Well, today's Read in White, we are going to have a look at one of the oldest players on Team Canada. He's definitely the oldest forward on the team. That's number 28, Glenn Murray. It's out of Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. He is a power play specialist, and he's got 2 power play goals in this tournament. He's also scored 32 power play goals in the last 3 years. That's about 30% of his goals come on the power play. Interesting story with Glenn Murray and myself. In his first year pro back in 92-93, Boston Bruins were looking for a place for this young player to reside. Well, he ended up living with my wife and I, and the reason I remember it so well is because my wife was pregnant with our daughter. She was born in 1993, and Glenn Murray was tremendous help around the house when my wife was pregnant. So it's nice to see Glenn Murray. And I'm looking at him now thinking, you know what, he's the oldest guy on this team. He is 3 months younger than Scott Niedermayer. And if you noticed who he was setting up, it was the old guy behind the net passing the puck to the old guy, Scott Niedermayer, in front. But Glenn Murray is the elder statesman on this team up front. He is the guy everybody's going to look to as far as hockey experience goes. Maybe not international experience, but hockey experience. He played his junior hockey in Sudbury of the Ontario League, and he's having a very strong power play outing with Team Canada. And one thing I do have to say about Glenn Murray in this tournament is if he had a little more finish early in the tournament, he'd be leading the tournament goals. He gets tremendous chances in the slot.
So you taught him everything you knew?
No, not at all.
He lived in your basement?
He was the goal scorer, yes. Yeah, he lived in the basement in Boston. It was one of these with 2 separate entrances, and he was a great kid, comes from a great family, and he's had a tremendous career. I've followed him throughout his whole career.
Well, right on. Glenn Murray, yeah, it's been Murray's law early on. Everything he shot at the net didn't go in early in the tournament, but a goal in the second, hard-hitting affair, tempers getting a little frayed at the World Championship. That must mean the Plate Hounds are right around the corner. 3-1 Czech Republic through 2. Our third period summary brought to you by Chevrolet for all life's roads.
Well, Prospo with a power play goal, and that's something that Canada had not been allowing, power play goals, but the Czechs were able to penetrate the penalty killing. Smith was first to the tournament. Good to see him get on the board. Final shots, as you see, 33-23 for the Czech Republic. Not a game Canada's going to want to remember, a game that the coaches are going to say, we've got certain things to work on. I think one thing we've got to work on, you kept saying it, and Gary Green alluded to it, the offense of the Czech Republic was getting in behind Canada's defense. Too many outnumbered situations, and that's something that Canada's going to have to stop doing the rest of the tournament.
14-game unbeaten streak ends for Canada. It doesn't really matter when your streak ends, but now you have to keep winning. They will play Finland on Thursday, single knockout elimination.
Oh, these are exciting games when you get the single knockout elimination.
Canada-Finland quarterfinals. Czech Republic will play against the USA. They have some games tomorrow to figure out the other matchups in the playdowns. Roberto Luongo and Team Canada need a much better effort now heading to the playdowns. Payback for Czech Republic. Last year, they got thumped by Canada 8-4. They didn't have Jaromir Jagr last year. He's a difference, too. The Czech Republic all over Canada today, 6-2. We'll see you on Thursday at 10 o'clock Eastern on TSN.
The World Hockey Championship continues on TSN, Canada's sports leader.